Most people think the difference between middle class and wealthy is just making more. That's comforting and wrong. In reality, a handful of everyday habits quietly trap millions into middling finances. Fixing them isn't dramatic. It's boring, consistent, and doable, but most people never do it. By the time they realize, decades of compound consequences have already stacked up. Hi, this is Zero to Wealth. We explain money without the fluff so you can make better decisions that actually move your finances forward. Today we're going to expose the 7 habits that keep people stuck in the middle class and how to break each one. This isn't theoretical, it's practical and step-by-step. Habit 1. Treating saving as an afterthought, the "I'll save later" trap. Most people treat saving like dessert, something you get if there's money left over. The problem is that rarely happens. When saving is last on the checklist, it will always lose to urgent, emotional, or immediate spending needs. Right now, Americans on average are saving a relatively small share of their disposable income compared with the runway that real wealth needs. The national personal saving rate has been low for long stretches, and, even while it bounces with the economy, it's not making the majority of households feel secure. Why this matters? Compounding doesn't care about intentions, it cares about time and capital. $10 invested at 25 will become far more valuable at 55 than $10 invested at 45, all else equal. The habit of save later robs you of decades of compounding, which is exactly what turns modest savers into comfortably wealthy people. How to break it? Flip the sequence, automate, pay yourself first. On payday, 5 to 15% of income should move automatically into savings or investments before bills. Start tiny if needed. If you think you can't save, start with 1 to 2%. The point is to create the system, not to win a willpower contest. Increase the rate with raises and bonuses. Track calendar-based increases. Every raise, schedule a 1 to 2% bump to savings automatically. Habit 2. Living on the edge, no emergency fund. If you don't have a buffer, you're one car repair, one medical bill, or one job loss away from losing financial momentum. That's not an opinion, it's how most cycles of debt start. According to surveys, a large share of households would struggle to cover even modest, unexpected expenses, which forces them onto credit and into the trap of compounding interest working against them. Build a practical, staged emergency fund. First $500 to $1,000 to stop immediate damage, then a 3 to 6 month reserve of essential expenses. Separate the accounts so the money doesn't feel like spending money. Once you have a buffer, you no longer need to reflexively swipe the credit card whenever something breaks. How to break it? On autopilot, set a small weekly transfer to a separate high-yield savings account until that $500 to $1,000 starter fund exists. Once funded, reallocate automation toward a 3-month goal, then 6 months when feasible. Treat the buffer as non-negotiable, not a maybe. Habit 3. Funding lifestyle upgrades faster than you build assets. There's an invisible treadmill many people run on. Income goes up, lifestyle expenses go up faster. A raise becomes a fancier car payment, more eating out, extra subscriptions. That's lifestyle creep, and it silently reverses years of financial progress. This is amplified today by the subscription economy and recurring microcharges. Consumers now hold multiple monthly subscriptions, streaming, apps, services, and those recurring fees quietly eat discretionary income. The subscription market has been expanding rapidly, and many households report several active subscriptions that add up to meaningful monthly costs. The result? Your standard of living rises, but your net worth doesn't. Worse, you reward yourself now for the promise of a future you haven't funded. How to break it? Do a subscriptions audit. Every 3 months, list recurring charges and cancel what you don't use. The average household often finds several ghost subscriptions. Institute a 50/30/20 mentality in a practical sense. Needs, wants, long-term savings, but make the savings automatic and sacrosanct. Before you upgrade a lifestyle item, commit the expected monthly cost to savings instead for 30 days. If you still want the upgrade after that cooling-off period, then decide consciously. Habit 4. Carrying high-interest consumer debt. One of the most destructive habits is treating credit like free money. Credit cards, buy now pay later plans, and payday or title loans can all look convenient in the moment, but their interest and fees compound quickly and repeatedly. Credit card balances in the US are historically high and growing. Total balances and percent of borrowers making only minimum payments have increased in recent years. Credit is cheap in advertising, expensive in reality. The more you carry high APR debt, the more you're paying to lenders rather than building your own balance sheet. Buy now pay later, BNPL, services also deserve a call-out. BNPL is widely used and growing. It's convenient and often interest-free short-term, but it encourages purchase behavior that people would otherwise delay or save for, and policymakers are starting to apply affordability checks because it's leading to overextension for some consumers. How to break it? Make a list of all debt with APRs. Target the highest APRs first, avalanche method, for fastest interest savings, or use snowball if you need motivation. Avoid new consumer credit while paying down balances, freeze the cards in a drawer if needed. When possible, use balance transfers or consolidation to lower APRs, but only when you have a clear payoff timetable and won't just rack up more debt. Habit 5. No systems. Relying on willpower instead of automation. Habits that keep people middle class are behavioral failures more than financial ones. Willpower is limited. Systems last. People who stay stuck usually decide to save at the end of the month and then get derailed. The better solution is to design predictable systems, automatic transfers, preset debt payoff rules, net worth tracking, and simple monthly reviews. The gig economy and side hustle culture are trending. Many people now earn supplemental income, but supplemental income only helps if it's routed toward goals instead of fueling lifestyle inflation. More people are freelancing or gigging than ever before, and that trend is only accelerating. The structural opportunity is huge, but it only benefits long-term wealth if the extra earnings are deployed intentionally. How to break it? Automate everything you can: payroll deduction to retirement, automatic transfers to savings and investments, scheduled extra debt payments. Choose one simple tracking metric, net worth. Update it monthly and treat it like a scoreboard. Schedule a 15-minute monthly money review to check automation, expenses, and goals. Habit 6. Chasing status over security, keeping up with the Joneses. Status purchases are emotional and social. People buy because of signal, not because of utility. That's the psychology behind showy cars, flex purchases, or debt-funded renovations you don't need. When status spending becomes a habit, it creates a spending identity that's hard to unwind. Your social circle, your habits, and your perceived self all reinforce the choices that drain wealth. There's also an invisible multiplier. Status spending often leads to recurring costs, insurance, maintenance, subscriptions tied to status, that increase the cost of lifestyle far beyond the initial purchase. How to break it? Reframe purchases through opportunity cost. Ask, if I don't buy this, what could that money become in 5 years? Use a 30-day waiting rule for non-essential big purchases. Time reduces emotional buys. Define a values budget. Money allocated to things that actually increase life satisfaction, travel, education, time, rather than purely status. Habit 7. Failing to invest for the long term. Saving is step 1. Investing is step 2. Too many people keep money in low-yield checking accounts because they fear risk, don't know how to start, or believe investing requires a big sum. The net result is inflation slowly eroding purchasing power while your balance stalls. The simplest path for most people is to use low-cost index funds, automatic contributions, and employer retirement plans, especially those with matching contributions. The reality is that steady, diversified investing outperforms most attempts to time the market or pick winners. How to break it? If your employer offers match, contribute at least enough to get the full match. It's instantaneous, risk-free return. Use dollar-cost averaging. Invest small, regular amounts rather than trying to time the market. Start with retirement accounts, 401k, IRA, and a taxable brokerage account once you have a buffer and debt under control. Why these habits compound against you? Each habit above does more than cost you a single purchase. It compounds over time. Think of poor money habits like leaks in a dam. One leak is manageable. Dozens of small leaks eventually create a collapse. A few trends make these habits especially dangerous today. Recurring micropayments, subscriptions, are ubiquitous and growing. The subscription economy now represents a larger and larger share of consumer spending, meaning lots of small monthly charges add up quickly. Credit balances and high-interest borrowing are at historically elevated levels for many households, meaning interest expense is a major ongoing drag on wealth accumulation. New consumer credit models, BNPL, increase purchase frequency and reduce friction for big buying decisions, which can accelerate lifestyle creep and overextension unless you have strong controls. So the environment is primed: easy credit, recurring payments, and constant upgrade signals. If you combine that external environment with weak systems and the habits above, it's predictable who will remain middle class. What the people who break out do differently. People who escape middle-class stagnation don't have more magic than you. They have different routines. Here's the pattern I see again and again. They automate savings, investing, debt payments. They prioritize emergency fund before aggressive investing, pay down highest APR debt before luxury splurges. They measure monthly net worth tracking so progress is visible and motivating. They redirect incremental income, raises and side hustle dollars go to payoff and investments, not instant upgrades. They reduce friction for good behavior, fewer cards, fewer subscriptions, a cleaner financial setup. That's it. Not flashy, not instantaneous, but predictable and powerful. Weekly, monthly, and annual steps. Here's a concrete plan you can implement this week, month, and year. This week, behavior tweaks. Cancel unused subscriptions. Set up a $25 to $50 weekly automatic transfer to a savings account. Create a single spreadsheet or app to track net worth. This month, structural tweaks. Build a $500 to $1,000 starter emergency fund in a separate account. List all debt with interest rates. Pick an attack method, avalanche or snowball. Freeze or hide cards you won't use. This year, big moves. Aim to automate at least 10% of gross income to savings/investments. Pay down one high APR account to zero. Increase your financial literacy. Read one reliable book or 2 deep articles on investing and compounding. If you have access to Employer Match, ensure you capture it. Common questions and honest answers. What if my income truly isn't enough? Start small and focus on the things you can control, automation and small cuts. Simultaneously, make a plan to increase income in realistic ways, a side gig, certification, or a better paying role. The goal is progress, not perfection. Is it okay to enjoy life now? Absolutely. The problem is not enjoyment, it's unplanned lifestyle inflation. Plan for enjoyment, budget for it, but don't let it sabotage your future. What if I've already messed up? Too much debt too late? It's almost never too late. The earlier you start, the better, but consistent efforts always improve outcomes compared to inaction. Start where you are. The habits that keep people middle class are mostly ordinary and reversible. They're not dramatic, they're boring. They're recurring small choices that, over years, set someone's financial trajectory. The good news is that reversing course is also ordinary: automation, buffers, debt attack, and disciplined investing. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: the financial life you want is built on systems, not motivation. Design systems that make good choices the default. That's how you move from surviving paycheck to paycheck to building real optionality in your life. If you found this useful, hit subscribe. I post clear, practical breakdowns like this regularly. If you want, I can make a follow-up video that gives a 90-day action plan you can follow step by step. Leave a comment saying 90-day plan if you want that.